Hi, I'm Bela. I'm the owner of Bela Rods Custom Fishing Rods. As a child, with my father, we lived out in the Bay Area, and so he used to love going out to the coast and, go get his rockfish and whatnot. But he fished off of a big cliff and made a pretty significant connection with nature. One specifically was actually when we were just done fishing for the day, and we were sitting up at the top of the other side of Highway 1 looking down over the San Gregorian Bluffs just below Half Moon Bay, and we're eating cold pizza. But it was before anything was really built there, so it was just all natural grasses. And I remember I was small enough to where the grasses were at about, my eye level, and I was looking down, watching the sunset and looking out over the ocean and the bluffs. And 4 years old, I didn't know what it meant, but it was that connection that I made then that I still have now. My grandfather also lived in the Bay Area, and he had a certain point in his life where he had a nice boat, and we used to go out in his Grady White, and I used to deckhand for all of his clients. And he said, just make sure that they're baited up and they catch fish, and you catch fish too. And so he taught me a good work ethic, and you work and then you get to play. And so I've always liked to work with my hands, and I always liked to build stuff at just certain scale. As a child, I built model cars, and I used to love doing that. And it's attention to detail. I don't know what it was, finished product, whatever it is. My wife knew about the idea. It was coming my birthday. She got me a birthday present to build a rod with this guy. Come find out, I thought it was just gonna be a rod, just like, fulfill that dream, have one that I built. Well, this guy and his personality just clicked, and he just, without even me asking, without even me had any kind of anticipation, he just started encouraging me to break down old rods. He said, go get some of those old rods that you got. Let's start redoing some of the work on them, and you'll get better at doing your epoxy work and whatnot. And so as a child, that was one of the things that I always kind of was a little bummed out about. You have that favorite rod, and it starts breaking down on you, right? And so then you got to junk it, or you don't know how to fix it, or whatever the situation was. So that's kind of where I delved into it, and just kind of spiraled from there. I tend to pay attention to detail, sometimes a little bit too much. That comes down to everything from cooking to gardening to just my own personal things, right? And it definitely translates into my work with my rods. I always wanted to, or always wished to see in other rod builders is, I understand they're doing it for mass production and stuff like that, and so, they gotta turn profit, and whatever the situation is, right? But there's a certain amount of those percentage of rods I know are gonna fail just because of the actual craftsmanship that's on them, just the actual finishing work of it. So that's where I kind of tend to focus my attention towards, is that actual wrap around that guide, and make sure that epoxy's in the place where it's supposed to be. And if you see your handle built and you got a little bit of epoxy around the edge there a little bit, be glad that you see that. Because I can't tell you how many rods that I've had where the handle's falling apart, and they just put a little spiral of epoxy around it, and that ain't gonna happen with one of my rods, I promise you. I just wanted to build one of my own that was where people were like, now that's a rod. So I'm fully aware that there are plenty of rods out there to choose from. But if you want a rod that's gonna last, it's quality, and is built well, attention to detail, get a Bela rod. Shoot me an email, give me a call, start that conversation, and go from there.